We are already more than 170 participants.
Hello, morning. Thank you.
So, welcome to this first technical meeting dedicated to the second call for proposals of the Interreg Euro-MED program. This call is dedicated to thematic projects and specifically to study, testing, and transfer projects. The meeting will be registered, so I hope everybody is okay with that. Otherwise, please turn off your camera. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or ask through the chat your questions. We will have Q&A sessions after each topic tackled in this seminar. So, just to remind a little bit about the agenda, what we are going to talk about today. So, you know that on the 23rd of June, we had an information session dedicated to this call, where we have presented the key features of the call and the terms of references, and also the different missions and focus expected for the projects in each of the missions. Now we are going to focus specifically on the partnership, the logical framework, and the indicators. For each of those topics tackled today, you will have a presentation from one of my colleagues on the content and the quality of what is expected in this call. And then we have also a presentation, a demonstration in our monitoring system, GEMS, in order to see how to integrate, to include this information in the application form online. So I'm here today with three of my colleagues specifically that will present those topics. First, Christoph Meyer on the partnership. Then we will have Axel Rodriguez-Garrote on the logical framework. And also we will have Pascal Lagaille for the part of the indicators. Just remind the agenda of the different meetings we will have. Just a reminder on the different meetings we will have. So we have a series of technical meetings dedicated finally to each part of the application form you will have to submit if you want to apply to this call. So today on the partnership, logical framework and indicators, and then we will jump into September already for the work plan and the mandatory activities on the 8th of September, and the budget, the eligibility of expenditures and the annexes on the 22nd of September. And then we will have a final Q&A session for everything you might still need to answer, to have an answer from us on the 6th of October. I remind that the deadline for submitting your application is on the 27th of October at 1 p.m. Any information you need is on our website in the Get Involved section. So please visit this section.
Ho fatto a video out, cioè sotto c'era scritto out.
Excuse me, but if you can mute, yes, your mics.
We cannot hear you, Sophie.
Yes, sorry. So, in the Get Involved section of our website, you have all the information regarding the call, the documents like the terms of references and the link to the program manual, but also you have the information for each of the information sessions, technical meetings, etc., with the agenda, the link to register for next ones, and for the past ones, you will always have the PowerPoint presentations and also a link to the recording of the meetings. So all the information is there. And also, of course, we have a tool in order to ask your questions, to frequently ask questions. And you have a forum in order to exchange with potential partners and applicants. So let's go now to the first topic of today's meeting, how to build a solid partnership for this call. Christophe, please.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. I hope you're well and you can hear me. Just one organizational issue. We have, as Sophie has mentioned, we have foreseen a Q&A session after each section. So the best idea, of course, is if you can already, while we are presenting now the section, you can perhaps already in the chat question, and then you can check them up after the session and see what we can further contribute to clarify. Now I'm giving you the insight on for this call. We will start to we will start first of all to have a look from a little bit still from the outside. So where are we? We are on the second call. We had the first call that has been closed beginning of June. That is now closed. Now we are targeting thematic projects. The first call was targeting governance projects. So this is just to on the map where we are now with this call. We can continue, I think. It's now it shows not this time. Okay, and this is now what we are expecting by thematic projects. These little pictures give you an idea that we have actually 4 types of thematic projects. We have study projects, we have the testing projects, and we have the transfer projects, and then we have strategic territorial projects. Next year, this is not what we are targeting now. Studying, testing, transfer. I think this is more or less self-explaining. Also, it's a little bit the logic of how you start to develop a solution. Or first of all, you have to get the knowledge together. Then you have to do some demonstration, some testing on a certain site, and in the end, you have a good solution to transfer to another situation. Okay, so we are checking out the eligible types of partners for this call. Actually, it is very, very large, so there are not a lot of restrictions. When you see the whole list, you see that from many sides you can contribute to these thematic projects. Of course, as always, there is, as you know, Interreg projects are very much centered around public authorities on the different levels, local level, regional level, national level. So there is, of course, a certain focus on this, but you need partners from different sides. You need sectoral agencies according to your topic. This can also target education, universities, research centers, SMEs. This is depending, of course, mainly on the mission you are presenting your project. This is also depending on the type of project that we have seen. There are studies, there are testing approaches, and there are different configurations that are possible according mainly to your projects. We don't have a lot of restrictions on this. Okay. Yes, the program manual, this is always a good idea to check out the program manual. You can find all the information that I'm summarizing here, even more detailed there and in written form. Okay, then we have different kinds of partners. I'm now checking, presenting a little bit the difference between the co-funded partners and the associated partners. The different organizations or possible partner institutions that can take a partnership can be on both sides. It can be co-funded, or they can be associated partners. There are differences in terms of course, the roles that they are taking, in terms of the obligations, and also in terms of the different rules of the participation in the project. First of all, concerning the co-funded partners, this is targeting all partners from EU countries and IPA countries, while associate partners can basically come from any country. So this is, for example, also an interesting possibility for partners from, specifically in the Mediterranean, from areas that are in the Mediterranean but outside of the program area, for example, the southern shore of the Mediterranean. They can also be associated partners to one of your projects. Co-funded partners, they get 80% for this call co-financed by the program, while the associate partners, they are not getting funding for the activities because they are not involved directly in the activities. They are paired to one of the co-funded partners, and they can, through the co-funded partners, they can get back costs for travel and accommodation. We have a limited partner, of course, of co-funded partners. We will see later. We will have a closer look on this. Usually it's depending also on the type of project, and it's around 10, a little bit lower. The associate partners, they are not limited in numbers. And then, of course, this is the main thing. The co-funded partners, they are taking part in the activities, and of course, from there they have obligations concerning reporting, to report also on the activities and the financial reporting in the project. The associated partners, they are not second degree partners, of course, but they have a specific approach while they are in the project. So usually this is either they are on a specific advisory mission, or they are specific end users. So they want to have very often it's a particular result that they want to use from the project already, or they are observers on a different level concerning the project. So this is explaining you this distinction. Okay, now we are looking at the eligibility criteria. Actually, we had those that have already worked with us for the ongoing period, they know that the eligibility criteria is less complicated. We have now only the restrictions that we want partners from at least 5 different countries within the Interreg Euro-MED cooperation area. This is important. We have a restriction concerning the lead partner that should be a public body or a body governed by public law. There's a definition about this. It's also in the manual, but it's regulated by EU directive. And we want to have at least 2 partners based in EU regions. And there's a final restriction concerning IPA countries, that private institutions taking part from IPA countries should be non-profit. So as you see, IPA countries have more options. There were restrictions concerning the lead partnership in the ongoing call. And we don't have this by eligibility criteria already. We don't assess, as we're doing now for the ongoing projects, how much of the percentage of the funding from one country another country. So this we don't have. It is of course still important to keep an eye on this, because it is still assessed not as an eligibility criteria, but as giving us indications about the transnational aspects of each project. Okay, also here you have more information in terms of references. Then we are looking a little bit on the quality side of the partnership. Of course, first of all, the partners have to be relevant for carrying out the project. We want that the interests linked by each partner being in the project, that they are also can be found in the project objectives. The partnership should be result-oriented. So we should have already institutions on board that are interested to implement the results. Of course, there's the required competences should be on board. It's not a good idea to start to look for them once the project is about to start. You should already have them in the partnership. Then we are looking if the partnership is balanced. This is taking up also the idea of a transnational program. So there should also be partners by country, should be a balanced ratio. Decision makers should be involved, of course. We should already see in the partnership that they are on board. And then we have practical criteria, that is the size. Of course, if there are too many partners, it is difficult to handle a project. The partnership should be committed. This is also making a reference to certain experience in the projects. And then, of course, very important also the financial capacity. It is very important that partners know what this means to take part in this type of projects. There are certain regulations that you have to comply with, and there's also concerning the funding. It is sometimes for some it could be very challenging. So you should have an outlook on how you can fund, even if because we have funding on justification, so we cannot just give you a lump sum for starting the project. So how you are going through this period. Okay, this is the relevance. Then from there we go to the lead partner. Basically, the obligations of the lead partner are in terms of coordination of legal aspects. As you see on top, the lead partner is more or less our legal counterpart. This means they are signing the application form. They are submitting the application form, signing the subsidy contract, and then on the other side also they are the counterpart with the whole co-funded partnership. They are usually in contact with us, so we don't go to directly to, except for clearly focused specific questions. We are not in contact with each partner, so this is usually the role of the lead partner to organize this. They are in charge of the reporting and to organize the communication flow in the project. Of course, there are really there's a communication. There are communication activities that can be taken over by a different partner, but everything that is concerning the communication about the participation in the project, organizational aspects, this is where the lead partner comes in. From there, we have, of course, we have a profile concerning a good lead partner. So at best, he has already some experience with EU-funded projects, not necessarily Interreg, not necessarily our program, but at least some experience. They are prepared to take a leading or driving role in a project mode, of course. They have sufficient capacities. This means on the financial side, on the human resources side. Very often our projects, they are starting, it's like a jump start, so you have to be prepared very quickly to launch your project. The lead partner should also have the relevant thematic knowledge and expertise, being committed throughout the project proposal. And then we have, of course, the linguistic requirement that we want to communicate with the lead partner, so it should be there should be at the key positions, there should be persons that are fluent in English or French. Okay, this leads us to the staff profile for a lead partner. So a good lead partner, at least the three levels that we see is, first of all, you need the project coordinator. This is usually the person that is the driving force in the project. It's the one that is organizing, that is in contact with us on a regular base. Then we have a financial manager that is organizing the financial aspects behind. And of course, we have the legal representative. This is important also because this is the person that is our legal counterpart. We have mentioned the subsidy contract that has to be signed, the application form that has to be submitted. So we need a legal counterpart. And this is also, if there's a change on that side, we need to prove that this change is required or has been decided by the by the organization that is behind the lead partner. You have more information also about this in the program manual, of course. From there, leading us to the roles and obligations of each co-funded project partner. So this is, of course, not concerning the associated partners. This is concerning the co-funded partners. Most of them are self-evident. I don't want to go too much into detail. And of course, you have to sign a partnership agreement, that you have to participate in the project, that you have to comply with the rules of the program, that you have also to, this is one of the things that I want to point out actually. This is the communication with the national representatives and national authorities, national contact points, because as we are talking about a transnational project, usually you are also in contact with your respective national authority and national contact points. So this is also, of course, they are supporting you in a lot of ways. So this is also an obligation for each project partner. Then, of course, the reporting, take part in the reporting. This is also self-evident that you have to report when there are the reporting phases for each project.
And if I may complete here, the role of the partners does not start when the project is approved, but since the drafting. So this is really important to consider that the lead partner is drafting a project proposal alone, but in cooperation with all the partners. This is really important because afterwards, of course, we can have also problems in the implementation, and it's a transnational project, shared project between all the partnership. This is really important that the lead partner involves all the partners in the drafting of the proposal.
Yes, actually, a very important point. It's not a good idea if project partners are discovering the project once the project has been admitted. So you should take part, and we will also have an eye. We have an eye on this particular to retrace that already that proposal has already been a common enterprise. Then we have looking at the profiles that we need on board of each project, so not for each project partner, but it should be represented somehow in the partnership. We will need a communication officer that will be responsible for the communication activities. We have a result amplification strategy now for this period, and so should be somebody that is in charge of implementing the results amplification strategy. Then we have also now integrated the carbon footprint issue. So we will have for offsetting the project's carbon footprint, there should also be a person in charge of this. And finally, another point that is important is data control and data protection officer for each project. Okay, this is more or less now the table that is summarizing not everything, but a lot of the points that I had mentioned before. So here you can see, according to where project partners are situated, and to the different types of organizations. So public bodies, public equivalent bodies, private institutions, and international organizations. How they can, where they can be in a project. So depending, the restrictions are, for example, as you can see, concerning the lead partnership, that for that matter, it is required that we have a national, regional, or local public body or public equivalent body that is situated in the cooperation area. Then we have already mentioned that for private institutions from EPA countries, they should come, they should be non-profit if they want to take part in the project. And lead partnership, they cannot take over lead partnership, neither can international organizations be lead partners of the project. And now I wanted, before we go to the questions, I wanted to give the floor to my colleague Axel, who will lead you a little bit through the gems on the partnership.
Hello to everyone. 1 second, I will share the screen. So here we have our information. Yeah, there it is. So as you know, for the application form, for presenting your project application, you have to enter in this web page in here, gems. Well, this is the test version, but you have to enter in gems.interreg Euro-MED.eu. Then you will have to present there your application. So this is when you create a new project application. This is what you will find in the system. These are all the different parts of the application form, from the identification to the partners, to the project description, budget. All the different aspects of your application are included in here. And now, as my colleague has just presented the partners, I will show you how to introduce the partners. So here you see the point B, project partners, has partners overview that refers to the co-funded partners, and then the associated organization, associated partners. So if you want to introduce, for example, the lead partner, so you click in partners overview, add new partner, and then you have to identify the new partner that you want to introduce. So for example, I start with the lead partner. I put the name. You have to put the name in the regional language, but many things like that. You have to specify the department, the type of partner, of course, being the lead partner, it has to be public, and the bat number or other identifier, and the BIC if you have it. Once you have introduced this information, you create the new partner, and then we ask you here for some other important information. So here you introduce the address of the partner and the department. Contact details, of course. You have to define a legal representative, and you have to define a contact person. So here you see we ask for all the basic information. Then you have to specify the motivation for this partner. What are their competences and their role in the partnership? Contribution to the objective of the project. And then here you will have to introduce the budget. We won't go into detail in this part because this will be for a future technical meeting, but here is where you introduce the budget, the co-financing rate, the co-financing source, and all financial issues. And finally, the state aid. You will have to introduce all the activities that might be state aid, or if you are not having state aid, you can simply say no.
For this section, it's important to work with each of your partners,
of course,
in order to complete this short questionnaire on the state aid criteria. This is important to assess if the activities of the partner are stated relevant or not.
So You can introduce as many partners as you want, as you have. You just change there's the lead partner, but then you have all the others that you want to introduce, and we will ask for the same information. And then we have the part dedicated to the associated partners, that you have to add a new one, and then you introduce all the information about this associated partner. And at the end, you have to, of course, you have to introduce the partner that is related to this associated partner. And at the end, well, of course, define a legal representative and a contact person, like for all the other co-founded partners. And finally, at the end, you have to specify the type of associated partner. So you have to start specifying their role, advisory, end users, observer, and then you have to explain the contribution of the associated partner to the project. That, of course, will have to be linked to the role that you have explained at the beginning of the motivation. And you can introduce, as you know, as many as you want. The system doesn't put any limitation to the number of partners or associated partners. It just makes sure that every partner and associated partner has makes sense in the logic of the project. So yeah, now that's all.
Yeah.
So,
Can you go down on the menu, please? You will yes, in the
yeah, of course.
just to explain down still, just to explain that the lead partner, yes, the project privileges. Each partner can log in the system in GEMS, and then the lead partner can link the partner, the account, to the project application and give a read-only mode. So this is very interesting in order for all the partners to see the application form prior to its submission. Okay, so in the first part, in any case, you have to enter the information regarding your partner, but you can link the account of the partner to the application. Okay, so this is important, as we said, in order to for the partners to get involved in the drafting without drafting, because if you have everybody drafting in the application form, it will be a mess. But just have the read-only mode.
And I just forgot one additional point that you have here in the project description, the C.3,
yes,
project partnership.
Very important.
This is very important because this is where you have to explain the logic of your partnership, the contribution of each partner to the project. So this is very important to show the logic that is behind the choice of all the members of the partnership. And these are the main aspects of the partner selection and description in the informatic system. Thank you.
So let's go to the questions now. We have quite a lot. So the first one, is the 20% national Italian co-financing confirmed? From what we know, yes, there will still be an automatic contribution from the national system in Italy. However, to be sure that you are eligible to it, please contact your national authority, your national contact point. Then, each project proposal must have one IPA partner. It's not compulsory. It's not a criteria, an eligibility criteria. Can a co-funded partner be based in a non-eligible country, but it's eligible because of its clear added value for the MED? There is no more the concept of eligible territory. There is a cooperation area. We have some obligations, set some obligation that we need at least 5 partners within the 69 regions and representing at least of the cooperation area, and representing at least 5 countries, 5 different countries. However, after this minimum, let's say, you can have a partner that is from an EU member state, but outside of the cooperation area, and which is as a co-funded partner because it brings an added value to the project. Are regional development agencies eligible for partner and lead partner roles? Yes, of course, regional development agencies are one of the types of partners eligible to the program. And in order to have a lead partner role, they have to be public or public equivalent. Can SMEs participate in any kind of project, study, test, transfer? Yes, there is no restriction in terms of eligibility. Then it's in terms of role and relevance, in terms of competencies for the project. So this will be assessed during the assessment phase. What do you mean for decision makers, government authorities? No, the decision makers will depend on the type of project and the level of decision needed for your project proposal. Meaning that, for example, you can have regional authorities that are decision makers. It can be at national level. It depends on the topic and at what level the decision is taken in your project. And also local, when we speak about something that will have to be decided at local level, etc. A partner can only participate in one project. No, there is no restriction in the multi-participation in different projects. However, of course, we encourage you to limit the multi-participation in order to get focused on your project, and to avoid to be in many projects together with difficulties then in capacities, in terms of management, in terms of financial resources, human resources, etc. Can a public university be lead partner? Yes, of course, as it has a public or public equivalent status, they can be lead partner. How do you see the presence of partners from IPA countries in terms of final assessment of the project proposal? As we said, that there is no eligibility criteria regarding the participation of IPA countries. However, the balance of the partnership also in terms of representativity of the whole program area is important and will be assessed. Is there any offline application form available for this call? Yes, indeed, there is a courtesy application form available in the on the website of the program in the Get Involved section in the call page. At the end, you have all the documents, and with the terms of references, you have also a Word courtesy application form in order to have all the information you will need to include in the ingest. Can you explain the project category? What includes test and transfer? Okay, here we didn't get there because we explained that already in the information session, but maybe we can come back to that. In a test project, you will test a solution, a methodology, a tool that has been developed in different territories in order to see if this solution is working for the area and responding to the challenge of the area. In a transfer project, you will use an already developed solution, strategy, action plan, methodology, etc. And you will transfer it to new territories, to new partners, or you will maybe also translate to another sector, for example. So this is the difference. Then in the terms of references and in the program manual, you will see the differences also of the different types of projects in terms of budget, in terms of number of partners, competencies of each of the partnership, in terms also of length, duration, etc. The template I already answered to the question. We have of course the application form. For the partners, the Italian partners, it's already also okay. Can the financial manager and or project manager be an external expertise, or is it compulsory for it to be within the lead partner staff? We do not set any specificity on that. However, we really recommend to have in-house, let's say, resources, human resources to implement the project, because having everything on the back of external expertise can be tricky, and if you have a problem with your with the contractors, and also it's important to have or to gain in capacity in managing Interreg projects within the institutions and the partners institutions.
Explain the difference between institutional and operational partners. I don't know if this is. I think you have to have a closer look at the relevance, first of all, of the partner. It's not an academic discussion about when are you an institutional and when are you an operational partners. We could go in this, but this is not the sense. The sense is that you have to think about the relevance for the project of your partner.
Exactly. Let's say that, for example, a regional public authority can have a role, a more institutional role, if it's here in order to be the decision maker, to change the policy, but it can be also operational if it's test a solution in its own region. So it's more in the role than in the type of partner.
We have a question on budget. I think we will have a session where we will talk about that.
We will have a session dedicated to budget on the 22nd of September. But we can tell that for study and transfer projects, it's about maximum of 1 million euros total budget. And for testing projects, it's maximum of 3 million euros. All this is also included in the terms of references.
Then we have a technical question concerning the application, I think. Do we have a limitation in terms of characters?
Yes, this is included in each section in GEMS. You have a limitation of character in each.
No, I've lost.
Okay, regarding the testing project, is eligible in that type of project the concrete experimentation of sustainable mobility plans, or that is considered another type of project? Yeah, in that you can have, if you have mobility plans developed and it's developed in a transnational way, you can have a test. But it depends also how far goes the plan of the mobility plan, because in that specific topic of mobility plans, it can go further than what can be done in terms of infrastructure, than what we can do in a pilot project in an Interreg transnational program. So it depends on how you will develop your application.
Is it possible to have information of all the applications of one institution?
Yeah, if you with your login, you will have access to all of your applications. It's only once you log in only once, and then you with your profile you can access to all of them.
Yeah, when you enter, you have the dashboard, that has all the applications that you have presented, those in draft and also those that have been submitted. You announced at the beginning the number of projects financed per typology. Study 8, testing 10, transferring 8.
No.
Is that definitive?
No, this was not the number of projects financed per typology, but the recommended size of the partnership per typology.
Then we have one sentence that the partner I referred to is not from EU, but from a South-Med country. I think this was connected to another question, like if a co-funded partner could come from outside the cooperation area.
A co-funded partner, no. From the South-Med country, even if we know that it can be much relevant, they can be only associated partners.
Then we have another question on cooperation partner located out of the cooperation area. I think we have already answered to this question.
Also, another, will the assessment be given through GEMS?
Yes, the assessment will be available through GEMS. And of course, we will inform about the lead partners about the assessment results by email and a notification letter. And then the detail of the grid will be with the scores and the comments will be available in GEMS.
The next questions are quite specific concerning
About the budget.
Yeah.
We will go to the next technical meeting.
Yes, but I can anticipate that no, the 20% co-financing is on the budget. I mean, you will spend 100 euros, you will get 80. You cannot compensate with in-kind contribution.
concerning when will the manual be definite version? There's still draft versions. Yes, it's a little bit work in progress.
Exactly, it's a work in progress, but all parts that you need for your application are there or will be there in a very few weeks. As, for example, the details on the budget lines about the equipment and investment, for example, will be available by the end of the month. This is the last part that thematic projects will need to apply for, and this will be available at the end of the month.
Local experts to be included if they are not employed by the public authority. Well, this is can refer to different. This question can be seen at different levels. Of course, there's on one side where you involve local experts because they are, I don't know, they are experts. But then the question is when you want to claim costs for them, this could be also a dimension of the question. So this then you have to be to see in terms of how you want to, if they are external experts or if they are, this is linked to that dimension, that we are not dealing with this session, or if they are staff members or not. Otherwise, perhaps there's a dimension that I cannot see in this question, but I think that's the points that I can see.
Yeah, if they are, if you want to hire external experts, let's say, you can, following the public procurement rules, and have them in the external expertise and services budget line. For an EGTC composed by 7 different partners, 3 of them with venue in eligible area, could be considered a presentation of a project as sole beneficiary. No. In that case, only it's one partner, and we consider it comes from the country where the headquarters are.
Can you describe again the additional staff roles expected for each partner? I mean, the roles related to the carbon footprint monitoring, are they all mandatory?
Yes, they do. They are detailed in the program manual in the partnership section. So let's say that it's not a role of 100% staff dedicated to that, but there is somebody that should be referenced for in order to follow the carbon footprint methodology and tool applied. There will be also somebody responsible to ensure that the project contributes to the result amplification strategy of the program and to the activities with the linked with the governance project, for example, as you need also to have a communication officer and somebody responsible for the data protection. This is compulsory, and for the data protection, it's an obligation that comes from the regulation on the FGTB.
And sorry, one person can take several roles.
Yes, this is
It can
important.
be the same person.
Exactly. That's why I said it's not a 100% role, but just somebody can be referred for that and for many of those roles.
3 partners from the same country, as long as we have partners from 5 different countries. Yes, of course, always relevant partners.
It's possible, then you have to ensure a balanced partnership, as we said, and this will be assessed.
Is it possible for a testing project to include minor study activities?
Not study activities, but you can have activities to adapt what you have already developed, what have been already developed, to be tested. So you have some preparatory study activities that can be implemented.
Next one, I think it's about a relationship with the governance projects. Should they be projects of the first call? That is still to be resolved.
The governance projects are under assessment, and yes, they are from the first call, and they will be approved at the end of September, and they will start on the 1st of November. So when the thematic project will start in May 2023, if everything goes well, then the governance project will be already running, and the relationship will be that you will belong as a thematic project in a thematic community, depending on the mission you contribute to. And then there will be 2 governance projects, 1 thematic community project and 1 institutional dialogue project linked to this mission. And then you will work with them, depending on their work plan, of course, and on some mandatory activities that we will discuss on the 8th of September, on how you will work with them in specific, and if there are some activities you will, in any case, have to participate in. For example, some meetings, conferences, and events they will organize, but also giving them input and information and on your project activities and outcomes. So this will be well detailed in general there, and then it will you will have meetings with them in order to work with them and define, in accordance with their work plan, your contribution. Are there any cap in percentage of the total budget for each budget cost category? Okay, so we will deal with that in the budget section, otherwise we won't go, it's 11 o'clock, so there is not for the external expertise and for the staff cost, but for simplified cost options, there are some specific percentages. They are all in the program manual, and we will discuss that in September in detail.
Is the energy efficiency upgrade of a public school an eligible project, including the pilot action of the upgrade?
Okay, we have worked a lot already on energy efficiency in the previous programming periods. Here, the energy efficiency topic is still there, but in an integrated way, in order to on the topic of the climate change and the protection of the environment, and specifically tackled in the Green Living Areas mission. So a project that we have as only as objective the upgrade of public schools in energy efficiency, no. But if it's an activity integrated in the world strategy, that can be considered. However, the main action will not be a pilot action on the upgrade, in any case. That is eligible for all the projects, for all the partners now. It's new. It does not depend on your VAT stages.
More questions concerning more or less already the project design, not directly the partnership, action plans and assessment methodology developed in 2 different projects. Similar topic and funded by different EU programs. Appropriate to build a test project. Well, there's of course a possibility to take up solutions from other EU projects. This is even encouraged. You know that there are, of course, should not be double funding and things like this. So this says, of course, you cannot do the same thing in 2 different projects, but if it is complementary, you can build up always in the logic of the Interreg project. You can always take up also results from other EU projects. This is even encouraged.
It's always possible to test a new thing, a new solution based on past results. It makes sense. It can be.
It has to be.
It has to be like that. I mean, every new. We ask you, of course, to innovate, to find out new solutions, new ideas, but always they have to be based on something. So we encourage you. We also give you some examples in the terms of references of different results from and different programs that you can look at to take ideas for building your project. So this is even encouraged.
Then there is a question on the peak number. We do not have, you don't need a peak number to participate in our call.
Possibility of investing in cultural heritage, well, if you want to make a project, probably this is what is meant on cultural heritage, or is it really a question concerning to investing that we have to see for the, I think we have to see for the budget session, because we cannot go into details about this infrastructure investment. I think we have perhaps this partnership is going to take us too far. De minimis also concerning more or less the funding. Yeah. There's already information out there. It's not that you can get information in the manuals already out there. Figures about success rates in that program.
Okay, I don't have the figures now in mind. Like to be honest, it depends on the course. It really depends on the course. Some courses get higher success rates than others. So we could provide them, but I don't have them in mind now.
Is IT development to further develop an existing solution to be built pilot in a test project eligible for funding? Is there a threshold set by the program? I mean, you should look at the terms of references that really explain what we want to achieve. What we want you to achieve, and you have to look at the main objective of the program and the main objective of the mission. All of them, they are very well explained, and then you have to ask yourself if your idea really contributes to this objective. So we cannot talk about a general idea. You have to look at the detail and see if it fits there. It's very difficult to give an assessment now during a meeting. We totally recommend you to look at this exhaustive list that we have made of possible solutions.
The next question is a little bit complicated. It's referring to one institution, in that case, a university, with different research teams that are applying, I think, but there's still one organization. How was it with GEMS? You can register only once, I think.
Yeah. As you are logging, yes, but you can have different accounts for different project coordinators, for example. Then we cannot give access without being part of the team in all of them. I mean, on another side, everything has to be signed by a legal representative. So I suppose that inside your university, you can have the possibility to have all the information. If in a study project we can have 2 or more universities or research bodies, yes, this is possible. There is no restriction. It depends on the relevance, and this will be assessed in the composition of the budget. We won't answer to questions on investment costs and budget anymore, otherwise we will run out of time, sorry, but we will discuss that afterwards. You have information in the manual. If you have questions that cannot wait the dedicated seminar for budget, please use the faculty ask question section of our website and we will answer to them. Do all the roles need to be appointed to specific persons from the application stage, or can we declare them after? They can be also declared after, of course, if everything is not there. We give you this information in order to think about your partnership and the different roles and attribute those to your partners beforehand, but it can be functioned afterwards also. And this is linked to the next question on the additional staff roles. And if you can consider budget for that, yes, of course, this is why exactly we propose to think about that beforehand. And for the data protection, if you have a DPO devoted to the projects, yes, this person can be the one for the project, but you have to design one for the project.
Okay, I think budget guidelines we have that we are taking up questions with the dedicated seminar.
Yes, that's why September will not be won't be too late for sure. You will have all the guidelines before September. As I said, the manual will be approved at the end of July, and so published right after that. And all the information is already there. And for questions, you can use our faculty ask questions section. There is no pre-assessment meetings foreseen for this group.
Okay, then we reach. There's still a raised hand.
Has been waiting
By Alessandro Berniger.
Please.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Then you can go on. And we don't hear you.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. You have already answered to my questions, so many thanks.
Okay. We are happy to hear that.
Okay, so let's move then to the second part, because we are really out of time now. Thank you for all of your questions. If we have not answered to all of them, we will take them and publish them in the frequently asked question section of the website. So let me share again the perfect. So the logical framework, please, Axel.
So in this presentation, I'm gonna explain the logical framework that needs to be in your head when designing a project application. When building the project intervention logic, the applicant should position its application well in the context of the Interreg Euro-MED program. This entails the understanding of the program, its objective, and its structure, as well as its architecture, and of course the means to achieve the program's results. Furthermore, by analyzing the program's documents, one will recognize the ambitions of the cohesion policy for the actual programming period, the choices made by the participant states regarding this, as well as the position of the program in the wider context of initiatives and programs working in the Mediterranean. Of course, it's very important to analyze the terms of references that have been published for every mission of the program. They add more details to what we are expecting of the project. And you have to take on board the chosen missions expectations, all of them detailed on the terms of references. Also, it's important to identify the shared challenge and need to be tackled by your project. And also, as it has been explained before, as part of the results amplification strategy of the program that we totally recommend you to read and to understand, you have to foresee common actions with the governance projects that will be selected in a few months. And a very important point is to be result oriented and to define the perceived change from the very beginning of the project. So in the next slide, you can see more or less the structure of the program that needs to be kept in mind by every project applicant, and the role of thematic projects in the middle of the whole network. So as you can say, as I have said before, there are the terms of references that has been defined by the managing authority and monitoring committee with the support of the Joint Secretariat, and this is the main framework that you have to follow in your project application. And also, as you can see in this scheme, you really have to coordinate with the governance projects and follow the actions that they will eventually plan. Of course, you can count on the support of the national contact points. So also, if you are looking for partnership, we totally recommend you to contact your national points, and they will help you through all this process. And also, it's a very important the coordination with all the Mediterranean area, the coordination with other programs, and the coordination with the strategies and initiatives. And as we said before, it's important to build on the results by other programs, strategies, and initiatives, also beyond Interreg. Then we have already mentioned before the results amplification strategy. It's very important to understand it. It is available in the website and includes a detailed number of activities that can be done by each project. Of course, here the role of the governance projects is very important. They are involved in the implementation of the strategy, but it doesn't mean that there's not a role to do for thematic projects. As the results amplification strategy search for amplifying the results of our projects, the thematic projects need to guarantee quality in the results and transferability. And of course, you need to coordinate with the activities that will be proposed, and the action that will be proposed by the governance projects. And therefore, thematic projects are actually at the heart of the results amplification strategy. So when they will be chosen, you will have more information. Then in the following slide, a quick reminder of the missions, priorities, and specific objectives of the program. As you know, the program has identified 4 missions. Each of these missions have some specific objectives, have some of the 4 specific objectives that we have chosen for the smarter Mediterranean and greener Mediterranean priorities. when you are designing a project, you need to decide, you need to choose one specific objective linked to one mission. This doesn't mean that you cannot have activities that are also linked to other specific objectives. I mean, the frontier sometimes is a bit blurred, but there needs to be a main specific objective that defines the actions of the program. The missions will englobe the results of all the single thematic projects and are expected to put them forward and beyond their single ambitions. In the next slide, you can see the main structure of the intervention logic of the program and of the project. There's more or less the same idea in both of them. We have to define the main priority, the main thematic area on which we want to intervene, and then we have to go for the specific objective. That is the main action that you have to execute, the main change that you have to make in this thematic that has been defined before. And then you have the output in the case, in the output, there are the result, the main outcome of the actions, and the result is the measurement of the action, of the impact of the actions that have been made with the activities. So all the different stages, you can see, for example, in the slide, you have an example for the Greener Mediterranean priority. All those stages in the intervention logic have to be linked and have to have a common goal. That has to be defined from the beginning. And you have to follow what we call the theory of change. You have to define from the very beginning, you have to have clearly in mind what is the change that you have to make in a specific thematic aspect of the cooperation area. So this connection is very important, and it's important for both the project and the program. More details will be explained before about the measurements of those impacts. Then the following slide, you have the main aspects of the intervention logic that has been already more or less explained, but your intervention logic needs to be aligned with the program's mission that it has been defined from the very beginning. And this means that you really have to respect the main objective of the mission, and you have to take it into account when building your project idea. You need to link it with wider initiatives and programs. You have to contribute to the expected program results and indicators as indicated by the terms of references. There are different terms of references for each mission. You have to find a common link between specific objectives, activities, outputs, and results. As I have said before, you have to target a desired change on the territory, and you have to provide for obtaining the pursued result. And this is very important. I mean, you have to be ambitious, you have to be creative, but also you have to be realistic regarding the duration of the project. The time assigned for a project is very delimited, is very limited. So we want you to focus, to be specific, and to not make like a very broad objectives. You have to be very specific, and you have to really be conscious of the time availability. Then we have some principles that you have to follow when designing your activities. First, we have coordination. That it means like ensuring the implementation of activity and the coherence of actions between all the stakeholders of the projects. Then we have the transnationality principle. That means that all the actions, they don't have to be isolated for every territory. There needs to be a holistic approach of the tackled issues involving all the territories of the area involved in the project. Sometimes we have an idea, but this idea is more specific for a single country. No, you have to make sure that this transnationality principle is respected. Of course, transferability of results is very, very important. Also for our results amplification strategy, as I said before, all your results, you need to make sure that they are transferable, they can be upgraded, and they can be traduced into policies, also with the support, of course, of governance projects. You have also sustainability and durability. The life of the outputs thus is not limited to the duration of the project. You have to make sure that the projects will have an evolution, the outcomes will have an evolution after the end of the project. And also synergies among projects. This is also in the heart of the program's strategy for this programmation. The synergies among projects, building community with the support of the governance projects to amplify the results and to have a deeper impact. And then we have some horizontal principles that are also important for the activities. First, we have the respect of fundamental rights and the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights. We have gender equality. We have non-discrimination. We have sustainable development and the respect of the do not significantly harm principle. All those horizontal principles are very important. They need to be well explained. As I will explain before, they will have to be very well explained and justified in the application form. And finally, during the whole duration of the project, it's very important to respect the EU environmental acquis. So now I will go for the GEMS aspect of all this. I hope I don't have to introduce my user again. So here we are in the application form again. Oh, sorry, I have to shut it. Here. So we have the application form again. We start with the, wait a second, here we have it. We start with the very beginning, because when you are identifying your project, you have to define, apart from the duration, of course, the project title, everything, you have to define the project priority and specific objective. So smarter MED or greener MED, you have to define the project mission and the project category. Keeping in mind the slide that I have showed before. So you choose one of the missions, for example, sustainable tourism, and then the category that you will, of course, those who have thematic projects, transfer projects, for example. And then you have to give this summary. In the summary already, you have to define the main change that you want to make in the territory. Here we give you some guidelines. Also, you have the courtesy application form that will give you guidance throughout all this process. And then if you go to the project description, there we ask you to be more specific. So you have to, so the project overall objective that, as you can see, is clearly linked to the specific objective that you have chosen at the very beginning. And then you have to explain here the overall objective of the project in more detail. Also in the C.2, we have several questions about the project relevance and context. We have the territorial challenge that will be tackled by the project. We ask you some information also about the importance of transnational cooperation. Really be clear and detailed explaining those questions. You have enough space to really explain into detail. Who will benefit from your project outputs? You can choose in here different target groups. You have many examples that you can explain. And also we have how does the project contribute to wider strategies and policies? Of course, it's the same thing, so you can choose. But of course, there are others that we really encourage you to propose other strategies as well, of course. Then, of course, synergies with past or current EU and other projects or initiatives. This will be used. This question doesn't have to be used, as said there. And then, for example, then those points will be explained later, 3.3, C4, and C5. And, but if you go to the C.7, C.7 is really linked to the project principles that we showed you in the last slide. First, you have to explain how will you coordinate your project, the measures to ensure that results are quality results. Of course, quality is a very broad concept, but also means the transferability, the respect of all the principles that we have explained before. Of course, you will have to also enter in the communication point. There, in this point, you will have to explain the communication strategy of the project. And then here we have some cooperation criteria: joint development, joint implementation, joint staffing, and joint financing. You should at least explain 3 of them. Is very important. I mean, if you explain the 4 of them, it's even better, but at least 3 is fundamental.
To be
eligible,
you
of course.
need at least 3 out of the 4, including in those 3 at least the joint development and joint implementation.
Yep. And then we have the horizontal principle that I mentioned before. Here they are like summarized in 3: sustainable development, equal opportunities and non-discrimination, and equality between men and women. Of course, if you have negative effects, it's a problem. So make sure to have positive effects, and make sure to explain in all 3 of them. And you have to make a description of the contribution. Explain it very, very well. Of course, this is a fundamental condition for the eligibility of your project candidature. Finally, we have the long-term plans, in which you have to talk about what I explained before, about the durability, about the future of the project results. So you have to guarantee that your results will be financially and institutionally supported, and how these output deliverables will be integrated in the work of the institutions. Then you also have to guarantee the durability of the outputs after project's lifetime, because we want your results to have a deep impact in the cooperation area. The transferability of results, this will be very important, also for the results amplification strategy. This will be analyzed also eventually by the governance projects. This is a very fundamental point, and of course, it's also essential for the approval of your project. And this is it by now. Now we give space to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Axel. So we have a question: what do you mean by coordination with TCP and IDB? It's the coordination with the governance projects, the thematic community projects, and the institutional dialogue projects. If there it's a reason of rejection of a proposal if we slightly deviate from the maximum amount of partners. No, it's a recommendation. It's not compulsory to respect this size. However, is a reasonable size we recommend. But if you justify the role of your partners and the need for more partners, it's well justified in the application form, we will assess it. There is a reference on the manual on the minimum of the part of partners. Yes, indeed, there is a minimum set for any project in the Interreg Euro-MED program, which is 4 and included in the program manual. However, in the program manual, it's also stated that further restrictions can apply in the terms of references of each call, which is the case. So for this call, it's minimum 5.
I think there's a second part of the same question concerning climate change.
Yes.
I can say something because I think you are referring to now we are discussing that we have different missions. You have natural resources on one side and you have green living areas on the other side, and both are of course connected to the objective climate change prevention. So I think the approach is to think really in the context of the mission. Where do you see your project? Is it something you want to intervene on natural resources, or are you targeting green living areas? In the end, the approach should not be that we have silos, that we say, okay, this is on that side, and on the other side we are doing something completely different. Of course, also the missions, this is why we had chosen all the time a puzzle. They are somehow interlinked. So you are not, these are not completely autonomous subjects. So in the end, it's a question of the spin that you want to give to your project. Is it more targeting natural resources, or are you targeting green living areas? Then you build up your project without having to think all the time, okay, it does not have to touch this area, because of course we know that this is interlinked.
Okay, then we have a question on what about the synergies among projects funded by other EU programs? I think we said it before, it's more than welcome, of course. We are not, we are an open program and open to others, to other programs and synergies. So we don't want to reuse only MED results, but anything that has been developed and is relevant for the program area, for the program territories, and linked to the objectives and missions of the program is relevant, of course. So you can, and you are encouraged to make synergies and to reuse also results from projects funded by other programs, either Interreg or outside the Interreg world. And in case you build on past project results and tools, you can involve partners from the past projects or not, depending on your strategy, let's say. But if you need them involved and they need to spend time and money in order to transfer or to make these tools and results applicable or tested, yes, of course, you can have them as co-financing partners or as associated partners. It depends on the role you want to give them. For the output and result indicators is the third topic that will be tackled by Pascal, so I will let see that afterwards. And then on the eligibility of partners again from IPA countries, yes, the private institutions from IPA countries must only be non-profits. Profit IPA private partners are not eligible to the program. Do we have to choose the specific objective within the mission at the proposal stage? Can a project tackle two SOs? As Axel demonstrated in GEMS, yes, at the project stage you have to choose the mission and one of the specific objectives that are included in each in this mission. You cannot tackle two specific objectives in the same time, in the same proposal. However, of course, you can have and also a contribution to another specific objective, but you have to choose the one that is the most relevant, the most important for your project proposal. So let's go now, I think, to the third part.
There was a raised hand
there is a raised
by Cosima.
Okay.
Cosima Venetian Pastor. Cosima?
Okay.
Okay.
There was also a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question about, so every mission has a specific list of programs that you gave, which has to be considered in order to build the project on. Every mission has a specific list. And it's strongly recommended to start from there, like Euro-MED and other Interreg programs. But then there is a section on each term of reference document where it says the project should be built on, and then it seems that it's mandatory that we should start from at least one Interreg Euro-MED. So I just wanted to make sure that the Interreg Euro-MED, it's mandatory, while the other are strongly recommended.
No, it's not mandatory. It's an indicative list, and the aim there was really to already to give you the information on what has been already done on the topics tackled in each term of reference. So see what has been done already, and then you can build on it or not, depending on your project proposal. But in any case, what is important is to ensure that you will not duplicate the work that has been already done. So this is why it's here for you, for your information, but it depends if your proposal goes in contributes to the terms of references, but on a different topic, or that what has been already done, or with a different angle, it's not compulsory.
Okay, so we can capitalize of experiences and results that are belonging to other programs,
Yes,
not necessarily from
exactly.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
and yeah. There was also a question that I missed regarding the intellectual property rights. Let's say here that as we everything that is developed by the project is financed by public funds, it has to remain in the public sphere, and you can protect your work with a Creative Commons license, for example, but the use have to be available for everybody and free for everybody. So it has to be public use. Do we have other questions? We have new ones. The minimum and maximum time length allowed for a project proposal. This is indicated in the terms of references, but it's 24 months for study and transfer project, and 27 months, sorry, with the closure. For study and transfer project, and 39 for testing projects. Do we have to include a public authority in the team? Can the team consist only from SMEs and universities? I can answer to this question in a different mode. I mean, in terms of eligibility, you can do whatever you want. In terms of relevance and then assessment, it depends on the project objectives. So it has to be relevant in order to have the competencies needed for the project objectives. But for the program to be relevant with the program, as we want a policy change for the territories, ensuring that you have also the policy side and the decision-making side is important.
Of course, we will look at it in the project.
In the assessment.
We will look at the roles are well assigned and they make sense.
In terms of leadership, partner, which is from a non-Euro-MED region, cannot be lead partner. The lead partner has to be within the cooperation area. It can be a partner, but it won't count in the minimum 5. Regarding the test project and roles, is it possible to improve competencies within the project or certain knowledge and skills are already required? I'm afraid I don't understand the question. You can improve competencies of target groups through some specific activities, of course, but your partners have to already have the knowledge and skills needed to implement the activities answering in order to reach the objective set.
Can an accredited partner be a profit private SME?
A co-funded partner can be a profit private SME if it is not from an IPA country.
Exactly. Then the point is, if you are doing the profit within the project, if you are generating revenues, this is another issue, but you can be a partner, yes.
Next up is specific open access results activities.
Okay.
Yes, it has to be, if I understand what is on the use, it has to be always with an open access in order to ensure public use. All results have to be publicly available.
Okay, so
I think we can move now to the third part and last part of the meeting, dealing now with the indicators, outputs and results indicators. Pascal, please, your turn.
Yes, good morning, everybody. So yes, going back to the program intervention logic scheme, we can find our indicators and you can see that they are linked to the projects, meaning that the project's output must contribute to the output indicator of the program, and the project's results must contribute to the result indicator of the program. And to do this, they must have the same measurement unit, and they must be able to be aggregated on project and program level. Now, what are exactly the indicators considered in this call? Well, for the program, the output indicators are namely, as you can see, strategies and action plans jointly developed solutions, and the other one is organizations cooperating across borders. And for the result indicators, it is joint strategies and action plans taken up by organizations, solutions taken up or scaled by organizations, and finally organizations with increased institutional capacity. As you can see, output corresponding to strategies and action plans, for instance, will directly contribute to results corresponding to strategies and action plans taken up by organizations. And it's the same for the solutions that correspond to the result indicator, and the organizations, that the output of organizations cooperating will contribute to the result indicator. So it's the same scheme. Once again, everything is linked. And then at the project level, the outputs they provide, for instance, being strategies and action plans, will contribute to RTO 83 and RTR 79. So everything is linked, and it's the same thing for the other outputs that are solutions or considered as corporations. So just then a clarification on what is meant by these outputs. So the strategy is designed to achieve a long-term goal, and an action plan is the translation of the strategies into actions. For the second one, the solutions can be methodologies, tools, technologies, services, and so on. And they must be jointly developed by at least 2 partners. They must be tested and they have to be easily transferable. And the organizations can be the project partners or associated partners that are participating in the projects. So they receive funds or not. Yes, the complete definitions and descriptions of the program indicators, including the targets, are also in the annex of the program manual that is available on our program website. For the result indicators here, it's almost the same, but it's uptaking for the joint strategies and action plans. So by uptake, we understand adoption or implementation. For the solutions, it can be uptaken or upscaled. So the uptake is adoption or implementation. The upscale is upgrade or improvement. And the organization with increased institutional capacity, we count the number of organizations that participated actively in the project. You can also find more details of this in the annex of the program manual. Now, to understand, develop, and report the indicators referring to the joint development of strategies or action plans and their uptake, well, the partners should well identify the relevant EU strategy to which the activities of the project contribute to on local or regional level, and then they should draft the methodology for this contribution. The objectives, the actions, the timeline, and the target groups concerned are also to be set, as well as the identification of financial resources needed for its realization. And finally, the project must think about which actions will allow for its uptake. Now, to understand, develop, and report the indicators referring to the jointly developed solutions and also their uptake or upscale, it is important for the project to understand the origin, the cause of this solution, which is the challenge that is addressed and that drove to the partnership to activities. And is this solution then tested? Has the project the scope to arrive at the point of scaling it? And which actions will allow for its uptake? And all this quality preparation will ease the uptake or upscale of the solutions that will be produced. And here, yes, just to draw your attention on the fact that the RCO 83 and RCRA 79, which is strategies and action plans, do not concern the projects that will go under specific objective 1.1, that is on the competitive innovation ecosystem. So this is normal if you do not find this choice of indicator in the monitoring system GEMS for specific objective 1.1, and all other specific objectives can address each of the program indicators. That's it for the indicators. Now, if you have, oh no, Axel will show on GEMS how to enter this.
Here I am back again. If you were tired of me, bad luck. I will share this quickly. So here we are back again in the system GEMS. Now we're going to explain where to introduce the output indicators. We have here first we have in the point C.4 the project work plan. When you enter, you have to add a new work package. We will enter in all the work plan, work package thing in future technical meetings, but here is important. So you click and you add a new work package. That will be the types of actions made by the project. In this work package, you can find the objectives, the investments, the activities, and the outputs. You will have more detailed information about all that in future technical meetings, but you have to explain your objective, the objective of the work package, the communication objective, everything linked to the specific objective that has been defined from the very beginning at the point A of the application form. Here you can explain all the investment, all the activities that you will do, and here at the end we have the outputs. The outputs, there's a list of outputs. The outputs need to be linked to the activities that have been done. You have to click in Add Output. You put the title, and then it will be here. There will be a message to the specific objective that you have selected at the beginning, and then you will have to choose the program output indicator, the measurement unit, and the target value of this indicator. You will have to define a delivery period, and you have to provide an output description. Very detailed, I have to explain, very well detailed and very well justified, of course. You can add as many as you want. The system that doesn't put limits in the number. So when you go to project results, here you have to introduce the results of the project that of course are linked again to the specific objective, to the program result indicators that have been explained before, measurement unit, baseline, target value, and explain a very detailed description of the results and how will this be achieved.
If I may, on the target value, as explained by Pascal before, we have the Annex C of the program manual with detailed information on the output and result indicators and what kind of output and results are foreseen are expected in order to contribute to those indicators. And you have the target values at the level of the program. Please go and see the figures there, because if for the whole programming period, for all the program, we expect, for example, 20 solutions for the specific objective 1.1, this means that at project level, we need maybe one, but not 20, because one project will not contribute to the world program indicator. So this is something that is interesting for you to see in order to assess what is expected also in terms of values at the level of each single project. And for the organizations, it's important that you have here as a number, what will be taken is the number of partners and associated partners and not more. It's not about target groups, it's about the participation of organizations in the project as partner or as co-funded or associated partner.
Important point, baseline, always 0.
Yeah.
And here you put the target value at the end of the delivery period. Then after you have introduced all these delivery periods, all the activities and everything, this point, C.6, project time plan, will be filled automatically. You will find in here a table with all the planned deadlines for every activity, every deliverable, every output. Everything will be there automatically. You don't have to introduce the delivery period. You don't have to introduce it again. And of course, this is linked to what we said before about the durability of outputs, everything. All the descriptions that you are putting in the point C need to be coherent with the outputs and result indicators. And I think this is all. Thank you very much.
So I think that with this presentation, we answered to the question that was raised that is, yes, in the output is the developed solution, for example, in the result is its adoption, okay, or further upscale. So, do we have other questions here? The one on the language of the application form, as the program is bilingual, you can either choose French or English. But the summary of the project in part A should be filled in both languages. For all the other parts, you either choose English from the beginning and for the whole application form, or French. Please don't mix between English and French. Choose one language from the beginning to the end of the application form. Referring to the number of work packages recommended, there is no limitation. It depends on the specific objective of the project, because each work package will be linked to a specific objective of the project. So, as you understand, we said that you need to be focused and realistic in what you do. So, we do not expect that the project has 6, 7, or 10 specific objectives. I mean, 3 might be, depends on what you will do, it depends also on the type of project, but yeah, this is linked to the specific objectives of the project, and we will discuss that in details on the work plan on the 8th of September, if you want more details on that. So, do we have other questions? Any raised hands? No, everything is clear with the indicators. Perfect. Thank you, Pascal. So, let's go then to the last concluding session of this meeting. Here again, let's see the different tools you have at your disposal to help you submit your application. On the program website, you have the online forums. We have one permission in order to search for potential partners. You can also, as a partner looking for contributing to a partnership, you can then have a post information in order and say in what type of proposal topic you are interested in, or as a lead partner you can also post a short project ID in order to find partners and specify, for example, if you search for a partner in one country or another, or a specific you are looking for a specific competence, etc. Then you are the frequently asked questions session. I already mentioned it. It's regularly updated, and every question you might have, please go and post it on this FAQ section, and we will answer to it very quickly. Before asking a question, please consult the questions that are already in order to see if you don't have already the answer to your question, as there is already a lot of questions answered there. Then you have 3 pages of interest for potential applicants, the Get Involved section with all the information on the call, some information on past calls also on call 1, for example, if you wish, and the documents and tools where you have the program manual and some GEMS user guides as well. And so this is in detail on the call, the description, the terms of reference, all the events. I said before, you have the information on the past events where we post all the recording of the different events and the PowerPoint presentations. And for next events, you have the link to register to the event and the agenda, etc. That's it. And I don't know if we have still questions on the chat. You get some, we are right on time. You have 4 minutes to ask any
Good finish.
any question. Otherwise, let's together work to make the Mediterranean green transition happen with your proposals.